Coach, the last 2 years, your group has suffered some pretty significant injuries. What's kind of allowed the group to maintain a high level of play through that?
I just think no matter who's in, you're training them with the same expectations. Like every guy that's in, if you're in, you're on. Like your job is if you're working as a second teamer or you're working as a third teamer, you're trying to better your best and in some ways set the tone for the whole group if you can. And I think our guys embrace that. Our older guys coach the heck out of the younger guys. Like guys have been forced to learn multiple spots, and it's like you just appreciate them for those things, you know. And hats off to the guys that have worked while they waited. So when they stepped in, they had a chance to match the performance levels, and we were able to kind of move forward. But that's always the battle. You wish you didn't lose anyone, and then at the same time, you're excited for the guys to get to step up and get a chance to step in and be there for us.
And then going back to your days at Virginia Tech, you were one of the first people to offer Anthonie Knapp. I guess what did you kind of see in his game then that would translate to this level?
I always like camp. Like camp's always a great indicator of not only like how someone plays. It's a great indicator of their balance, their change of directions. Sometimes they're measurables, or you get a feel for maybe what their upside might be. And he had a blast at camp, man. Dude competed his butt off. He was a peanut. I think he was probably like 230 pounds, you know what I mean? But I'm like, this dude works, and if he cares about it enough, he'll get his body there. And I just remember him loving the game and being a great athlete at that spot.
As far as cross-training positions goes, most people haven't played offensive line. They don't understand maybe the nuances of going from position to position. How difficult is that for a college player?
I think it can be really difficult. And then some guys, you don't ask them to do that. Like if it's not in their wheelhouse and it's not in their best interest, I won't ask them to do it. And then for some guys, it's helpful. You know, there was a time at which Ashton Craig moved to guard, and he was playing some guard for us. And then all of a sudden in the Clemson game, as the third center, we need him. He's got to go in and play. And I think sometimes working at a different position kind of can enlighten you on to like, hey man, here I am out here with more space around me. I moved back to a guard and I'm like, man, this isn't so bad. Like this is pretty good. Or I'm playing center and the guys are so close to me, and then I moved to guard and I'm like, oh, this is what I can do with the space. And you start to appreciate what the different spots can bring, and you can grow from it. But it's not for everybody.
Pitt's defensive line, what do you see from them on video that concerns you?
I just think they know each other. You know what I mean? They got great depth. Every guy that goes in has a tenacity about how they play, an effort level, an understanding of their defense, a strain. And I think they're slippery as heck, man. And to be able to get your hands and feet on them, to be able to do the little things you need to do to be consistent, they've done a great job with it. That's why they've done such a great job of stopping the run. Like they know how to play off one another. So it's a great challenge.
Hey Coach, simple question, but has anyone shown significant growth from week one in your opinion? And can you talk me through that a little bit?
Yeah, I think they all really did. I think mindset-wise, they've really grown. I think the way they approach things, and not because they weren't in a good spot going into week one. It's just you realize like you're not playing the guys you played all week in camp. Like it's a different group, and your preparation for that group sometimes has some little tweaks that you have to really get right and understand going into the game and gain a confidence with it. And so I think I think they have. And I mean, you can go through it like Gerby Lambert from week one until now, but even guys like Emil Wagner from week one till now. And it's like across the board, like that's your goal as a line. Like every time you go out, you're fighting your butt off to be a little bit better than the last time you were out there. And when you got different faces and you got different lineups, sometimes that's difficult, but the expectations are the same.
And you coached a lot of good units in your career. What's like the it factor that separates a good line from a Joe Moore Award winner?
Yeah, I always say like if you have a good offensive line, you have 5 guys doing their job the right way consistently. And if you want to have a great O-line, you have 5 guys doing their job the right way consistently, but they do it in a way in which they make the guy next to them better. And that's the togetherness part. Like that feeling of, I don't have to worry about what the guy next to me is doing. And I can get my job done, and I know how to do it in a way where I help this guy. And that's special about a unit when they get to that point.
Jeremiah, we'll get get out of the way, can you kind of take us through your run, the spin, the rollover?
The play was kind of blown up from the get-go. Tried to make a guy miss and get as many yards as I could. The guy ended up, trying to get me down. I felt no part of my body touch the ground, so I just got back up and just kept on running. And then, that's really all it was to it. It was kind of a lucky play, but I credit that play to how we, train day in and day out. Playing through the whistle, playing just as hard as we can through the whole interval of the play. You never know when the play is over. So credit that to the way we train, but it was a kind of one in a lifetime type of play, I would like to think. But yeah.
And then a play like that, does that even surprise you, just given what the body of work that you put in?
Say that again. Sorry.
Does a play like that even surprise you at times, just given the body of work that you put in?
Nothing really surprises me. Things just kind of happen. I just credit it to the game. It was a crazy play, but you can kind of credit it to just the ways that we do things throughout the building. If you train to play through the whistle, you're gonna play through the whistle. You never know when the play is dead. So I wouldn't say it's surprising, but it's definitely like a once in a type of play. Like it rarely happens, but I would say it's not very surprising to me.
Pitt's rushing defense has been so good this year. When you watch video of them, what do you see?
They got a great group of players that want to compete. I heard that coach preaches to his players to be violent and so on and so forth. But a great group of players, great group, just a great team in general. And I'm just looking forward to competing with them and going to take some shots with them. But great group of guys, great mindset that they have. Ready to compete.
Coach Freeman talked about this being a challenge for this team. How has he set the table for that in the first couple of days of practice?
Kind of just making sure that we're sticking to our principles. We think of ourselves as a very violent team, a team that's going to just be very physical from the get-go of the game. So he just kind of made sure that we understood what type of team that we are. Made sure we understand the standard that we need to play to. And we come out here and practice and we play to that. We make sure we're physical and make sure we're finishing throughout the whistle. And just doing the right things that we need to do.
What have you learned from running backs Coach Sider? He was just here. You seem like you guys have a really close relationship, fun relationship.
From Coach Sider, I've learned a lot from him. I've learned how to uncover or read coverages. Learn how to. My whole just knowledge of the game itself has increased with me being coached by him. He used to play quarterback a little bit ago. And he brings that perspective to our room. All the guys can really point out what exactly they've learned from Coach. From me, like I said, I've learned how to uncover, defenses, whether when I'm splitting out wide or whatever it may be. But he brings that knowledge of a quarterback to the running back room and helps us to be more complete football players, not just running backs, but just, the whole spiel.
Hey Jeremiah, so your name is sort of popping up in Heisman Trophy conversations. I just want to know what does that mean to you personally, and if you were to win, what would that represent for you and also, the program?
Yes, I've seen, some Heisman buzz stuff. To me personally, it's just a credit to not only like me going out there and do what I got to do, but just my team helping me to, have good performances. Because at the end of the day, it's a team sport. I don't go out there and do anything on my own. So I think of the Heisman buzz as a credit to really how good this team is, and how much we've been working to prove to ourselves that we are who we are. So if I do go on to potentially win the Heisman, that would mean a lot to me because I think of football really is just a team sport. That's all it is. So if I win the Heisman, that's like the biggest honor ever because that wasn't just my effort. That was my team effort. And you know, Heisman goes to I believe, the best player in the country or whatever it may be. But I feel like whoever wins the Heisman, you can attribute that to them having probably one of the best teams in the country that had helped them to achieve that, achievement. But yeah, that's what I mean to me.
And you guys have been playing Pitt for, I think it's like 116 years. What does that rivalry mean to you and also the team?
Me personally, it's just another game. I mean, that's how I go into every single game. It's just another game. Obviously there's a different set of players on every single team, but I go into every single game. It's just another game, different group of people to compete with. They got a great linebacker core, great defense in general. So I'm looking forward to competing with them. But the Pitt rivalry in general, speaking from a just Notre Dame perspective, we respect all our rivalries. We go into every game or every rivalry game with just a little bit more because at the end of the day, it is a rivalry. So, we might think a little bit more of it. But to me personally, it's just another game and just another group of players I get to compete against.
Drayk, how challenging is it to kind of flip the switch from the triple option back to a regular offense?
Yeah, it's more of a challenge just to get the communication back and run the calls that you haven't been running. You have a few just normal calls that you go into Navy with, and then you really don't use them too much. So it's kind of getting back to our old playbook, and that's what we kind of spent Monday on, just getting the communication, getting the calls that we would run back that we didn't run, and so it's a couple days thing, but we're back and ready to go.
And then as a captain, how do you kind of approach blocking out the rankings and your message to the team along those lines?
For me, I just kind of it doesn't really matter, because if you lose, you're done. It's something where it's always, we just got to get better today, tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, and then, you go out and perform on Saturday. And so that's kind of been the way that I've been thinking, and I know a lot of our team has as well. Just, we got to get better today and, just keep getting better as we go.
The quarterback's only a freshman, but he's been putting on some big numbers. When you watch video, what do you see?
Yeah, he has a really good arm. He can make all the throws downfield, on the run, in the pocket. And when he understands the pocket really well. He breaks a lot of tackles. He steps up, he finds holes, and then he keeps his eyes downfield. And so, he is a freshman, but he's not playing like a freshman. He looks very comfortable and experienced in that offense, and he's the one that's been making it go the last couple of games. So it's going to be a good challenge for us.
Receiver-wise, they have a lot of weapons. You've really worked on improving your pass coverage. What kind of challenge does their receiving core present for you?
They got a couple guys that can take the top off, that are, a couple possession guys, and then they use their running backs in the pass game a lot as well. So, it's going to be a good challenge. We're working it, every day in, scout periods and stuff. So we're going to be ready for it.
Earlier this season, you mentioned learning from guys like Jack Kaiser. What sort of lessons did you learn from Kaiser that you kind of used to prepare for Navy?
I think the biggest one is just how fast the game is. Last year when I played, that's something you can't simulate. And so, for when I watched it with him, that was just kind of something he was stressing. And, the other thing is just how you watch film. You can't watch it based on formations or whatnot, because it all looks the same. So, when I talked to Jack, it was just, try to make it simple. Just read your keys, and that's really how you have to go about watching film throughout the week. Is, just kind of ID your key, and then, basically run through what you would be doing in your mind.
Hey Drayk, obviously you're leading in tackles for a top 10 team in the country. What does that kind of mean to you personally? It's pretty exciting, I guess. It's something that it was one of my goals at the beginning of the season. I talked to Max, Coach Ash, about what I wanted, and one of them was, leading tackler, 100+ tackles. And so, I still trying to get to both of those, but, it's pretty exciting, but still got some work to do. And you have been progressively getting better, you could say. What kind of flipped that switch?
For me, I think it was just executing the little details that I have to in practice. making sure that I'm recognizing what I'm seeing on film and using in the game, and then just playing as hard as I can, as fast as I can.
Coach Freeman has obviously team glory, but he seems to set a different message each week for this team. How has he gone about setting that in the first 2 days of practice this week?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just his biggest thing this week has been just to struggle. It's not easy. You got class, it's cold, you got meetings. There's snow on the ground, so you're not always going to want to practice, but you have to be grateful and struggle to get what you want on Saturday.
They didn't send you outside.
How?
Anthonie, asked Coach Rudolph about him offering you names at Virginia.
Yes, sir.
What kind of stood out to him early on in your process?
That'd be a good question for him. I don't know. I think I remember being pretty light at that time, and it was a mega camp. I'm with my buddies, probably like 210 pounds, and I think the biggest thing that stood out to him, he always does this gauntlet drill. I don't know if you guys are familiar, if you've seen these camps, but like basically it's a one-on-one rep for O-line and D-line, and if you win at one position, you go to the next. And I just remember I just kept on winning. I just kept on going through. So I think that stood out to him, maybe. Yeah, that's probably all I'd say to that.
And then how's your relationship kind of grown from that day until now?
I mean, yeah, I look up to him. He's a great mentor. The stuff he brings in the O-line room, and he does a great job. He starts these meetings off not only about football, but like helps us as men in life, helps us grow. He gives us these quotes that really help us, and it really sticks with me. Just kind of keeps me focused and grounded rather than just always focusing about football. But he obviously gets down to football. But like I said, he's a great mentor. He really cares about us. You can tell that like this is a passion for him, and it just makes us want to follow him even more. I think he's a great leader too. So.
Pitt's rush defense is number 3 in the nation. When you watch the video, what makes them so good?
Yeah, so I have a lot of respect for them, obviously, and I'm excited to play them this Saturday. I think they do a great job of being physical. I think that's something that their head coach really instills in them, and I think they take a lot of pride to that. I think they do a good job of taking care of or taking advantage of offensive linemen who aren't disciplined. And I think that's why practice and our preparation here is so important. That's why we're busting our butts Tuesdays and Wednesdays to be ready for these guys. But like I said, I have a lot of respect for them, and I think they play aggressive. I think they play fast, and I think they play that way all the way through the board. So.
With the injuries again this year on the offensive line, you've had to adjust to new people.
Yes, sir.
In. What's that been like to bring Otter and Sully along?
Yes, sir.
And kind of get everybody's chemistry?
So it's funny because I always think they've always been along. Like those guys have been helping me out, especially. Them being a year older than me, and I'm so proud of them, obviously, because of all the hard work they put in. And those guys are working their tails off constantly, and it's really cool, especially as one of their guys, one of their brothers, to see them get a chance. And I think that's been the biggest thing, because they've always been busting their butts, and it's cool that they finally get to showcase that. And so like Coach says, like even though there's 5 of us that are playing, like our O-line room's our O-line room, and when he says unit, that's us as a unit. Like we're all helping each other, and we all have these relationships, and those are my guys. So I feel like they've always been part of it. Now they can just finally showcase, all that skills they've been working up and all that hard work they've been putting in the weight room and all that stuff. So.
You guys have been playing Pitt for around 116 years. What does that rivalry mean to you?
Well, I always love a good rivalry. I think that's what makes this game great. It's funny, my dad, he grew up about 2 hours outside of Pittsburgh in Greenville, PA, a little small town. I grew up watching the Steelers, so it's cool playing in the Heinz Field. I think we bring, we're a physical team, they're a physical team. I think it'll be fun. I think we got a lot of respect for them, and we're ready to go. But we try not to look too much into rivalries because we treat every team with respect. I feel like that's something we take a lot of pride in. And we do that by, having hard preparation and working really hard when it matters, and so we can be ready to perform on Saturday. So.
And what have you been like seeing from your teammates next to you? You're 9 games in?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
What you said? What do I like seeing?
Yeah.
Well, I like to see their physicality, and their resilience. Because football is an emotional, tough game, and people are going at it all this time, and it's cool to see my guys keep a cool, level head, and keep they play with the end in mind. We all have one goal here, and I think that's important. And I think there's a lot of passion, and there's a lot of love, like it's a brotherhood, like O-linemen talking to DBs, we all hang out like brothers, it's just one, it's not just one giant room, and we all love each other, and I think that's cool. Being part of that brotherhood is something cool, and it's really cool that's an atmosphere in our locker room. So.
With this being another ranked ranked matchup
Yes, ma'am.
towards the end of the regular season. How exciting is it to know that you guys can have another
Yes, ma'am.
opportunity to make a statement here?
Yeah, it's very exciting. Like I said, we try not to look too into like the bigger stuff, but we just, we have a job and we try to finish it. And I think that's our biggest thing is go in there and everyone goes in there and completes our assignments and that we have to do and be the best we can for the guy next to us. I think that's our biggest thing. And then, we enjoy Team Glory, as Coach Freeman says, Sunday, and then we go right back to it. But, we keep our focus on this game at hand. We keep our focus on the task at hand and all of our assignments. And we try hard to, do our best in preparation and, work hard throughout the week and so we can perform Saturday.
Coach Freeman talked about this week being a challenge.
Yes, sir.
How has he set the tone for that in practice?
Yeah, I mean, scout team guys, we all going at it. We all love it. Everyone cares, and I think he does a great job sharing our team goal. I said he's like, Team Glory is a goal, and he does a great job before practice saying, hey, what is your role and what can you do, whether it's you're a starter, whether you're a scout team or whether you're not playing, what can you do to help the team? And I think he does a great job distilling that in all of us. And, when we have that mindset going into practice, it just shows that we're not just here trying to get through practice, but we're here trying to make a difference and, try to get that 1% better. And I think that's the biggest thing. All these guys are in, and I think that's the most important, especially for a team. So,
Kyngstonn, where's Max kind of helped you grow your game the most since you got here?
Yeah, he brings a lot of intensity to the room. I think he's helped me with being consistent and having a certain approach every day to be the best that I can be.
And then just what's his coaching style like with you? Is it like one-on-one meetings or is it just like you're just learning as a group?
It's learning as a group, and if he needs to say anything on the side, then he will.
And then when you committed here, you told me that you didn't have to compromise anything at Notre Dame. I guess, is there something off the field that's kind of surprised you so far?
Nah, not really. I think it's a great institution, great university with a lot of great people around us. That's been a blessing to me so far.
How difficult is it to transition from an offense like last week with Navy to an offense that Pitt puts out?
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge, but a challenge that we got nonetheless and we're ready for.
What makes it a challenge?
I think when you're so focused on stopping the triple option, there's a certain defense that you run, and as you transition to a gun offense, it's a lot of different things that you got to worry about.
And then when you watch Pitt on video, what are you seeing that they execute well right now? What are they doing well?
Yeah, quarterback does a great job. They have a lot of great running backs and guys who can play in space.
We've seen this defense progress a lot throughout the past few games. What have you learned from week 1 to now?
I think I've learned that it's never going to be perfect, but all that matters is that you keep showing up, and that's what we talk about, being relentless and giving your all for your teammates.
Kyngstonn, what part of your game do you think has grown the most mentally and physically, and has there been a specific moment that has maybe grown the most?
I think my leadership has really grown so far. I think I'm building a lot of great relationships with the guys and talking to them on the side, and I feel like I have a really good spot where I'm at right now.
And I see you out there, you play with a ton of energy and emotion. Where does that fire come from?
It comes from the love that I have for my teammates. I feel like I have an obligation to give my all every play that I'm out there for the people next to me.
Go ahead, Chuck. The play in the Navy game where you blew up the blocker and then made the tackle. Can you take me through what you saw there and how quickly the reaction comes to you on that?
Yeah, for sure. We got that play during practice, and kind of the same look, and they were in the gun, so it wasn't a certain look that we got. But motion to slide back in, he returned, and then I seen the fullback go to the field wide, and we got wide flow. So I was just thinking, go set a vertical edge and be physical at the point of attack.
What's it like to make a hit like that?
It feels great. I think it sets the tone for the rest of the team and the rest of the defense to do the same.